Welcome once again to Chelan County Connection. I'm your host, Randy Rhodes. Today, our guest, Sergeant Jason Reinfeld, Search and Rescue, Emergency Management, Chelan County. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, the last time we were talking wildfires. Today, we're talking search and rescue. How have you been?
I've been doing well. We're just actually starting to get into the busy season here.
Have you been able to get out and recreate around our area this spring?
A little bit. I've been fairly busy and I've been taking some vacations otherwise. So I've been out there a little bit.
Well, let's jump into the meat of it. Memorial Day is approaching. Memorial Day weekend, busy weekend, marking the start of summer and recreation here in Chelan County. And I do understand, Jason, that Chelan County has one of the highest numbers of search and rescue responses every year.
We do. So as an example, last year in 2023, we had over 70 search and rescue calls in the county that we had some sort of response on. You could add another 30 to 40 plus calls to that that were calls generated that we didn't really put resources in the field on. Examples of that would be kind of in a lot of common areas. We have overdue hikers. You could say in the Enchantments Loop, people really underestimate how long it takes them to go through that. So we'll get a call saying, "Hey, my friend said they'd be out by 9 o'clock tonight," and it could actually take them till 2 or 3 in the morning. And we're aware of that. If there's no other circumstances, then we'll just hold off and check back in the morning, so we don't put resources on the field when they're not needed.
Jason, outside enchantments, what are some of the other areas that you're responding to?
So primarily, that is where we respond. However, we get calls all over the county. It can be in some really difficult spots to get to. Last year, we had some calls up at the north end of or west end of Lake Chelan, Stehekin, Holden area. Just pretty much anywhere in the county, somebody might get into trouble, we'll get a call.
So is it kind of a toss-up? Is it mostly people visiting, locals? What is it?
I'd say primarily, I'd say most of our rescues are for people from out of county. A lot of it's from Western Washington, just because we're, within a drive to get here, and it's such a great place to go hiking. But we even get people from out of state and even out of the country as well that we rescue.
So, what are some of the top reasons, Jason, that people find themselves in a pinch?
So I think what we see a lot of, maybe even the most common, is a lack of preparedness. And this can be a lot of different things. It can be not equipped with the proper equipment, food, even physical preparedness. A lot of times people aren't capable of doing the hike that they partake in. Another thing that we run into, especially on the shoulder seasons, is people not checking the weather. You need to be prepared for weather changes. It might be really nice in the morning or when you take off from the trailhead. The weather can change really fast on those, September, October, or April, May type of seasons. So,
Well, again, we're gearing up for a very busy time. And how is emergency management holding up with all these calls?
So we stay pretty busy in the summer right now. It's not hitting us hard yet, but it's just starting to pick up. But it's not just emergency management in the sheriff's office. Three of our coordinators, three of the five, work patrol, and a lot of our team members also get pulled away from their other assignments for SAR response. It can get really resource intensive May through October, just drawing people away from their other duties to handle search and rescue calls.
All right, our guest this time out on Chelan County Connection, Sergeant Jason Reinfeld, Chelan County Sheriff's Office, Emergency Management for Chelan County. Now, Jason, response takes quite an effort. Share with us some of the typical, what a response might look like on some of these calls for people out recreating.
Sure. So calls come in a lot of different ways. A lot of time it's family or friends reporting somebody overdue. It can also be other hikers. But one of the more common methods that we're getting now, people are able to activate SOS on their satellite devices. The common one is Garmin InReach. It's really good to work with. So what that does is it sends a message via satellite to a company in Texas called IERCC, who receives all the messages from around the country, maybe even the world. And they're able to tell where this person is that's in trouble. They reach out to Washington State Emergency Management and Camp Murray, who then reach out to us. And as soon as we're notified, a SAR coordinator gets involved, and we get right with the IERCC and establish direct communication with the device holder in the field. So once we get that, we're able to take information from them on the scene. Hey, what's your injuries? What's your needs? And we're able to really put out a good plan and do an efficient rescue.
So if there's air support, Jason, where does that come from, and what factors play in getting the responders there as quickly as possible?
Sure, there's a lot of different options for that. As far as air support goes, if a hoist isn't needed, Chelan County is the first stop for air support. We operate two OH-58s. They're Bell Jet Rangers. We use them for searching, inserting rescuers, picking up hikers that need some help. They're really useful, and we use them quite a bit. If we need a hoist, we just call state emergency management and put a request in. And their first place they reach out are other state agencies or county agencies. And we'll get a lot of support from Snohomish County Sheriff's Office and King County Sheriff's Office. If they decline, our most common ones are recently the Yakima Dust Off Medevac unit stationed down in Sela. And a lot of times we get the U.S. Navy out of Whidbey Island. And so that's if we need a helicopter, that's where we go. Otherwise, getting resources to the field, it can be any way. First off, helicopter. A lot of times, especially in the encampments, it's just hiking. It's people hitting the trail and do an hour's worth of hiking just to get to a patient. So there's a lot of different ways, but we try to get them there the most efficiently that we can.
And Jason, I know we have local volunteers. Who are they?
Yeah, they're one of our most important resources that we have. We have the primary volunteer groups we work with are Chelan County Volunteer Search and Rescue and Chelan County Mountain Rescue. We're really thankful that we have these people out there that are willing to donate their time to help others in need. These groups are great. They're very well trained. They're really responsive. They'll drop everything they're doing to come out there and help us on a rescue. We can even rely on some good numbers midweek during the day. People have worked with their employers, and they can get out a lot of times and come help us out. So we're definitely thankful for that. We also have some other volunteers that work with Swiftwater and snowmobile rec clubs as well.
And Jason, as far as emergency management, what are you actively doing now to get ready for this busy time?
So just training, and then we're slowly getting into our just response. We're getting back into our response time. We're also working with some of our equipment. We recently picked up a Starlink device where we can get satellite reception and Wi-Fi at a command post, even if we're well out of cell service. So we're kind of working on things like that just to spool up for the season.
Jason, a very important facet is cold water shock. What do you want people to know about our waterways this time of the year?
Well, especially spring, water's moving fast and the water's really cold. So kind of some do's and don'ts here is if you're doing some activities in the rivers and lakes around Chelan County, you just need to be aware of how cold the water is. Example, today, the Wenatchee River is reading 52 degrees. This can seriously affect how your body functions and potentially limit your ability to rescue yourself if you fall in.
So when do our waters typically warm up a little bit?
From what I've seen, it's starting to do so now, and then it trends upwards till mid-August or so, and then it starts cooling off again.
So let's talk about folks out recreating. How can they protect themselves?
So there's first off, wear a PFD. If you're going to be in cold water, make sure you're wearing the proper gear. But I can talk about kind of what the effects of cold water are really quick here. There's kind of three major issues that can happen if you're into cold water and you aren't prepared for it. The first one is loss of breathing control. The water can cause you to immediately gasp and start to hyperventilate. And this also can cause you some difficulty in holding your breath. So in 60-degree water, keep in mind, I said we're at 52 degrees right now in the Wenatchee River. In 60 degrees, the average person can hold their breath for about a third of the amount of time that they can in warm water. So it can really affect your ability if you're under the water. The second thing is the cold water can affect your heart. It immediately causes an increase in heart rate and higher blood pressure. And this can ultimately lead to cardiac arrest, which I think we've seen around here. The third effect of cold water is it affects your mental abilities. So it can cause you disorientation, can cause panic, inability to carry out a plan on what you're going to do when you're in the water. And so this can lead to people being stuck in the water for a lot longer and potentially lead to drowning.
Sergeant Jason Reinfeld, our guest, Chelan County Emergency Management. We're kind of rounding third base and heading for home here, Jason. Let's wrap up by talking a little bit about what people can do to help our busy emergency management office. What are, for example, some must-dos for people heading to play outdoors?
Sure. Always know your limitations and research the hike or the activity you're about to partake in. Don't let the destination cloud your judgment and your self-awareness. Like you might see the pictures of Kolchak Lake or the enchantments on Instagram and just have a absolute need to get there, but make sure you're actually capable of doing so. Know what your limitations are. Make sure you're physically and mentally prepared, as well as being equipped with the gear. Like I said, you want to be able to adjust for changing conditions. If you are out there, make sure someone knows where you're going, including the trailhead, starting point, ending point, as well as a route you were planning on taking. And really important, more than it used to be, is have some form of two-way communication. We have a lot of great successes based on people that carry a Garmin inReach device. This isn't a plug for Garmin. It's just a device I know that works really well. We've had a lot of success with people who carry that. So even modern cell phones, the newest versions, a lot of them will switch to a text to 911 via satellite if you're out of cell service.
Well, Jason, in closing, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share as we head into this busy season?
Yes, on the emergency management side, just be sure to stop into our website or Facebook and sign up for the new Everbridge system. It's what's taken place of AlertSense for our mass notification. It's not something you're required to do to get emergency alerts. It's just another tool in the box to get the message out there. So I'd encourage everybody to go to our website and sign up for Everbridge.
All right, Sergeant Jason Reinfeld with our Chelan County Emergency Management and our Chelan County Sheriff's Office. I will say thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend and summer.
Great. Thanks for having me.